Next thing I know, I hear gunshots.
Mm.
Not knowing where the gunshots coming from until the gunshot shattered my back window.
Big Freedia's voice is about to get a whole lot bigger. For the last 4 years, the Queen of Bounce Music has collaborated with musical powerhouses Beyonce and Drake to deliver anthemic tracks that women felt empowered by. And from that, her platform has only increased. But the New Orleans sound isn't the only focus a performer has on her mind these days. She's now using her voice to talk about gun violence in the Black community, starting with a new documentary that's currently airing on Peacock. We chat. You know, Freedia, your voice has been amplified these last few years. I mean, the Queen of Bounce Music has found her influence on tracks by Beyonce and Drake. And I'm curious to know what that kind of amplified profile has meant for your own voice and what that's done for you.
I definitely think that it has put a bigger spotlight on my voice and on my brand. So, definitely, I know I had a lot of eyes on me, you know, being that I did a feature with Beyonce and with Drake. So it just really made me want to work harder and to keep the grind going even harder and just be more consistent with what I do and how I do it and the way that I present everything. You know, it was a change in my life for sure. Those times really made things go up a notch for sure.
And now that we all are listening, you're using your voice in a different way and you're talking about something that is very important to you personally, and that's gun violence in the Black community. Tell me a little bit about why you wanted to do this documentary focusing on that.
Well, we deal with a lot of violence here first and foremost in New Orleans. Just gun violence, losing people, losing family members and friends and people that we know. And I just wanted to highlight and do something different. Randy and Fenton came to me, the producers of World of Wonder, and they wanted to spotlight something different in my life than the normal reality TV show that we do. And we wanted to go just a little bit deeper, something that can help the community of New Orleans and spotlight some things that's going on in New Orleans. I've lost my brother to gun violence. I've lost my cousin to the justice system and himself. I've been shot due to gun violence. And a lot of people that I know, we have lost, and we're steady losing people every day. And people think that it has become the norm, and it's not the norm. And I want to get some attention, not just locally, but nationally as well, what we're seeing in the Black communities all around. You don't see the everyday stuff that's happening in these communities, and it has become even worse here in New Orleans since they opened back up, you know, a little bit of the world since COVID. It's just constant people just getting shot and killed, and it's just unbelievable.
You know, in this documentary, you're being personal and sharing assets of your life that you haven't necessarily shared before. Why is now the right time to do that?
God's timing. I just think that everything is a God's timing when things should be done. They came to me at the right time. We started taping at the right time, and then it landed at the right time with all of the stuff that's happening with the Black Lives Movement going on, with all of the violence that we're seeing in the different communities and around the world. So it's just perfect timing. You know, I didn't know when it would come out. They didn't really know when it would come out. It just all happened to line up at the right time. And that's nothing but the grace of God.
Yeah, you know, and one of those stories, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, is that of your brother Adam, and he was unfortunately murdered. How did his murder change you?
It made me want to open up a little bit more to help more families. It in so many different ways. It took a part of me. You know, I lost a part of me losing my brother, but it also made me want to step up and help different people that's going through some of the same issues and don't have a platform to speak about it or to bring attention to their situation. So it helped me in so many ways to show love and remember my brother and to do something and let not just his death be in vain, but to have a greater cause and a reason to losing him, have a purpose behind it.
You really dive into, issues of toxic masculinity, race, and violence and gun violence in a way that feels very important and needed to talk about it in this way specifically, especially with regards to toxic masculinity. Why was it important for you to make that connection in this documentary?
Because it's the stuff that we see, and it's the stuff that I saw growing up as a kid and still see each and every day. And it's the stuff that's not really talked about. So I want to highlight some of these things that are the issue, and masculinity being one of the biggest issues. And they thinking that they have to be, so hard to carry a gun, or have to be a man, or they have to be a thug, So some of these issues have been going on for a very long time. And I just wanted to highlight some of these things I saw since I was a kid. And now the younger generations I have to deal with.
Have you seen any kind of evolution since maybe the mid-90s when P was talking about it to you making music right now and what you're seeing?
The evolution of getting worse. That's about it. Nothing has changed for as cleaning it up or guns off the street or helping the younger generations to do something to kind of keep their minds in the right place. Church was a outlet for me to stay away from the violence and try to stay off the streets. And everybody don't have church, or everybody don't have someone who's a mentor trying to keep them away from all the hurt and harm. I haven't saw anything really change, but sad to say, it has gotten worse since the 90s.
People might find it surprising to hear that you've actually been shot before. What happened in that instance?
Dropping a girlfriend off from one of the clubs one night and dropped her off, spent around the bend. There was this guy standing in the middle of the driveway. This was a project at the time. And, he stood where I could not pass, where my truck could not pass him up. So he kind of stood directly in front of the truck. Eyes were big. I don't know, what he was on, so he eventually moved out the way and went to the side. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm about to go on about my journey. Next thing I know, I hear gunshots. Not knowing where the gunshots coming from until the gunshot shattered my back window. He started shooting at the back of the truck. And shot at the back of the truck, I kind of held my hand up at the back of my head where it stopped the bullet from shooting me in my head. So I got shot in my wrist.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't know the guy, didn't know why he shot me. So I was just in an unfortunate spot at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh my gosh. How long ago was this?
This was 2004, right before Katrina.
How long was your recovery process with that? And how did that experience change you?
Oh my God, I was terrified to come outside. I didn't come outside for months. My mom was just like, you are not going to be stuck in here. I didn't want to do any shows anymore. It changed me in so many ways. It also made me get a gun, something that I had never had or experienced. That was back then. I don't carry a gun no more. Things have changed for me in so many ways. I keep continuing to ask God to be my protector and my shield from all of that. Don't know what happened with the guy. Don't know where he is. So that situation was never really resolved or closed. I still think about it, sometimes when I'm out in the public. What if I see him? What's going to happen? So it's still no resolution on me being shot.
Oh my gosh, that sounds horrifying.
Yeah,
horrifying. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
It can be. So you have to try to not even think about it, because it can be terrifying just going outside, not knowing if this guy is in jail or where he is, or if, he might send somebody else or whatever, and now that it's being talked about and brought back up, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, to that, the 2020 election feels especially important to this cause, not just at the top of the ballot, but really down the ballot, especially when we look at local municipalities. What is your hope with that?
Well, the most important thing is for everybody to get out and vote and to do the right thing. Right now, it's more important than ever. Your life depends on it. Is to get out and to let your voices be heard. And through voting, that's how our voices can be heard. And also, we have to continue to protest and not be lazy about it and not pick certain things that we want to protest about and certain categories. We need to be consistent with everything that we do right now, because our younger generation definitely are our future, and they're depending on our voices to lead the world in the next few years.
Absolutely. Big Freedia, thank you so much for that. You're fantastic. Coming up next on Another Act, Kelly Rowland.